So what can we do? Is there anything we can do? Should we do something?
I don't know. We should, at the very least, understand what we're dealing with, and it's not obvious, right? I mean, I think we understand the lay voter much better than we understand the people who are kind of maneuvering behind the scenes. I mean, we know what they're doing. I don't fully understand why they're doing it. But then, in light of disagreement in general, I think there are three ways to respond to a disagreement, right? If we disagree over something, we can talk about it and try and get at the truth of it, philosophy. We can beat each other over the head with rhetoric and propaganda, or we can actually come to blows, and those are your three options.
I think there's a lot, some of the people are actually going through actively resisting. Like there's certain states where it's still protected for abortion rights because it's left up to the states, and I believe it was Dick's Sporting Goods, that with their insurance plan, if you live in a state that does not support the abortion, they will pay up to like $4,000 to travel to a state that does accept your abortion. So that's them actively saying, okay, we're not going to allow it. We're still going to allow it even though we're not in that state. That's a way of resisting without, breaking the law.
Yeah. I mean, though I do think that does break the law.
No, if you can go to a state that actually that does not have the same thing, you can do it. They're just willing to pay you to go to that state.
No, I'm pretty sure that they'll find ways to
they'll
penalize that.
It'll end up going probably to court, and they'll say should this be against the law, and they could end up either making a law against it or not, and that's how basically that's how the rights get diminished.
And so my trichotomy of reason, propaganda, and violence. Well, you might say, wasn't there a fourth option of just like political maneuvering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you engage in such maneuvering with the truth on your side, or don't you, right?
Mm.
And a lot of Dems, maybe they'll say, well, yes, but we can't demonstrate it to the other side, so we won't even try. Mm. And you definitely see a lot of this kind of talk of, well, I don't have to explain my existence to you, I shouldn't have to argue for bodily autonomy, and I sympathize to some extent, but then I also find that kind of thinking a little conceited, because if you don't have arguments and reasons, then all of the other options are just so bad. No one should be on the receiving end of propaganda and rhetoric. Just like no one should be on the receiving end of violence. If you want to have a society that functions, I mean, there are certain kinds of leftists who say, well, violence should be understood more broadly. So if someone's it's not just beating someone over the head with a baseball bat, it's the conditions under which people are forced to live. Even with that in mind, I favor trying to understand and trying to talk to people, hard as it is, right? Because we always feel like people who don't agree with us are simply intransigent. They're not honestly listening to our arguments. But I see a lot of people talking past each other. And when people feel like they're not being heard, that's why they go in for this sly political maneuvers like the ones that we've seen.